In the early hours of December 12th, 2020, a security guard working at a construction site by the Purple People Bridge in Cincinatti, Ohio, made this 911 call after stumbling across a man who had just dumped a huge bag off the bridge.
Cincinnati 911, what is the address of your emergency?
I found a dead body. Somebody threw a bag, like on the edge of the bridge, and my curiosity got the best of me. So I got up there and knocked it down, and it was heavy. It hit the ground. It's like a body bag. Yeah, I'm almost 60 years old, and I've never had anything like this.
Right.
I never thought, this is crazy.
The unnamed security guard noticed that a man had pulled up to the bridge in an Uber, got out, and seemingly dumped this huge bag off the side of the bridge. Curious as to what was inside, he walked over and noticed the body of a woman. He assumed it was some sort of prank, but upon touching the body, he realised it was no joke. It was reported that the security guard attempted to approach the man on the bridge and did encounter him, but as soon as he did, he thought twice about doing anything. That's when he made his way back to his car and called for police. Over the next 24 hours, that woman would be identified as none other than 29-year-old Nyteisha Lattimore. Now, although family and friends were both shocked and saddened by the news, they had also been in a heightened state of panic. Where was Nyteisha's 3-year-old son Nylo? She had full custody of him, and although his father, Tony Hughes, had broke up with Nyteisha, Nylo hadn't been with him for quite some time. He was last seen with his mother on the 4th of December, a whole 9 days before her body was found dead after being thrown off the bridge by this mystery man in an Uber. In fact, come to think about it, it was the last time Nyteisha had been seen as well, the 4th. By now, the investigation had been well underway, and well, let's just say it wasn't too long before police caught up with their main suspect, Nyteisha's boyfriend, Deshaun Brown, who had been spotted with the two on the 4th. Deshaun and Nyteisha were thought to have had a rocky relationship. One neighbour would say that he would become angry at times and was violent towards her. That same neighbour said that she would often hear Nylo through the walls, but after the 4th, she stopped hearing him. So where was Nylo then, because Nyteisha's body had been located and he was still yet to be found? Detectives discovered his Paw Patrol blanket with his mother, and his family found his stroller in the lake, but no one knew where he was or whether he was even dead or alive. Meaning A, he was either with Deshaun Brown, or B, sadly he was dead. On the 13th of December 2020, law enforcement caught up with Deshaun and he was apprehended by officers in his apartment. As this case is still ongoing, we don't exactly know what happened next, but we do know that some sort of confession was made. Deshaun admitted to detectives that on the 5th of December 2020, he stabbed Nyteisha multiple times to death at her property. His reason? Well, again, we don't know if he gave detectives a motive behind the murder, but according to a friend, Jamaica Cobb, who later came forward with her own testimony, this had been months in the making. You see, earlier on in 2020, the couple were looking forward to a future with not just Nylo, but another child. However, Nyteisha would sadly have a miscarriage. Deshaun was apparently furious at the news and confided in Jamaica, quote, "I'm going to do something to baby Nylo. She's done something to mine, I'm going to do something to hers." Remember though, a miscarriage was completely out of her control. Jamaica apparently brushed this off though, and of course, as the days turned into months, the memory faded. That was until Deshaun was arrested in connection with the murder, and she came forward with the information. Let's rewind back to that December 13th date though, back to Deshaun's confession, and after admitting to stabbing Nyteisha to death, he would go on to admit accessing Nyteisha's Facebook account and writing, "I love him forever, Deshaun Brown." He then laid out the fate of Nylo. He explained that on the 6th of December, the day after the murder, he took Nylo to the Purple People Bridge, and in what's been described as a barbaric move, threw him over the bridge, killing him. After the twisted act had been completed, he then returned home, hopped on eBay, ordered a body bag, waited for it to arrive, and on the 11th of December 2020, he returned back to Nyteisha's apartment where he put her in the bag. In the early hours of the 12th of December, he was caught on CCTV carrying Nyteisha's body from her home address. It's then thought he caught an Uber to the bridge, and this is where the story comes full circle. Deshawn was eventually charged with both murders and some other charges in relation to the case, after the mountain of evidence that was stacked up against him. However, his defense would go on to argue that the confession he made should be dismissed, as they say detectives intimidated him into waiving his right to an attorney. In that same court hearing, they wanted his bond lowered, but the judge would go on to deny that. In regards to the confession being dismissed though, that was going to be saved for a later date, as the judge couldn't decide on that day whether she wanted it to be dismissed or not. And while this further court hearing is probably what you've been waiting for if you've read the title of this video.
Base, can we get back up in 560 now? Scott?
Stay there. Don't
Have him
move.
sit down, Scott.
Don't
Scoot
move.
Have him scoot in, and if you could just stand behind him, please. I didn't hear Base respond, did you?
No, go cover me.
Judge, can you hit the panic alarm, please?
My cut's legs.
Okay.
Grab my cups out of my pocket.
Nope, nope. You gonna come up for us? Come on. All right, roll over on your stomach.
Roll over. Stop. Stop. Let me hear you.
Yeah, I got it. I don't have them, they're on him.
Oh,
All right. These are not gonna be comfortable. You go ahead.
okay. Get it. Calm down. Calm down. Stop.
All right.
Stop. You okay? Stop. Stop. Stop.
Neil, Harvey, right here. Sonia and Rose. Mike and supervisor. What happened? He jumped over?
Yeah, hit him pretty good.
Under my foot. Stop.
What's wrong with you?
Chill out, dude. Take him. Take him there. No. Come with me. All right, don't. I get it.
Chill out. Chill out.
No.
Yeah, chill out.
Sit down. Sit.
Nope.
Sit down now.
Have a seat. Leave it. You good? Hey, chill out.
I'm good. No, not yet.
Have a seat in the courtroom. You got prior cuts?
No.
He's
He's stuck.
just acting fool.
Sir, stop talking or we're taking you into custody. Sit down and be
Stop.
calm.
Dude ain't even in here.
I'm good. I want you to be okay.
You good? Dude ain't even in here no more. Chill out. Ain't no reason to fight us. You understand? That's just gonna hurt you more. No reason to fight us. Dude ain't even in here. You got it? Take a minute, breathe, chill out. No reason to fight us.
At that court hearing, Nylo's father had attacked Deshawn within the courtroom. He would go on to be sentenced to 7 days in jail for being in contempt of court. And to slam dunk on the defence, the judge allowed the taped confession to be used in trial, which is scheduled for later on this year, 2022. Nyteisha just wanted what was best for her and her son Nylo. 3 days before being murdered, she wrote on Facebook, "All I want for Christmas is my son to have a good Christmas, and got another job interview tomorrow. I hope I get it because I want my son to have a good Christmas. It's about the kids and I want my son to be happy for Christmas." She was a loving mother. She'll truly be missed. She'll never get to see her son grow old and see what he would have achieved in life. Nylo will never get to become the man he was always supposed to be. To make this all worse, nearly 2 years on, in December, his body still hasn't been found. So if there is one thing to take away from this story, it's keep the family in mind because, again, his body is out there somewhere, but they're yet to locate it.